Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. Okay, we are now in week 8, right? So I think this week we are going to cover chapter 8 with this IT governance. So in this video, I will explain what is IT governance all about, right? So you have learned three major parts of this course, which are IT strategy, IT architecture, and IT payoff. So the last part of this course is IT governance. Okay, meaning that from now on, all the remaining chapters that you are going to learn are related to IT governance. Okay. Based on syllabus content given to me, the agenda of this chapter, basically the first one is demand, cheap yet strategic IT. Okay, this will explain on how you as a non-IT manager together with IT can manage the demand of your company that want a cheap IT solution but able to help the company to achieve the business goals. So the second agenda is IT governance. Who decides what? Okay, this in this agenda, you will learn about how you as a non-IT manager be a part of IT decisions on what IT to be accomplished in order to support your company business operation. Okay, the third one is a level for making IT frugal and strategy. Okay, frugal here means economical or save cost. Okay, this agenda expect you to understand how to optimize the IT. There are some need to be trade off, okay, in order to gain something else. Okay, the last one is linking governance to architecture. Okay, the objective of this agenda is to make you understand on how to match between the government with the IT architecture. Okay. I hope you all can listen carefully my explanation so that you will be able to understand what IT governance is all about and how governance link with IT architecture. Okay, these are the terms that we will encounter throughout this chapter. Okay, the first one is the IT governance. Who IT or non-IT managers make what IT decision? Okay, in this context, IT governance basically referring to what provides non-IT managers the mechanisms to influence their firm's corporate IT decision. From the structure, we will know who will make a decision on IT matters. Okay, IT managers decide what, and non-IT managers will decide what, right? So accountability accompanies such authorities, meaning that the empowerment given to the IT governance will always come with the accountability. Whoever being appointed in IT governance, they are empowered and they are also to be responsible. So the next one is independently for IT infrastructure, apps, and IT data. Okay, this means for each IT architecture, there will be a set of decision-making process on its own. Okay, IT governance structure. It is about who will be given more power in IT decision. Okay, it also it is called decentralized. If non-IT managers make an IT decision, and it's called centralized if IT units make an IT decision. Okay, so the next one is the governance trade-off. Okay, trade-off is something that you have to give up or sacrifice in order to get something else. Okay, Centralization is more economical, so better integrated. Decentralization foster business agility and innovation. Basically, you cannot choose both. Okay, this you cannot choose both because you have to choose either one. Okay, for example, if you choose centralization, which is more economical, but then you have to sacrifice the business agility and innovation. Okay, IT infrastructure governance. Who decide what your firm's IT infrastructure must accomplish? So IT apps governance refers to who decide what your IT apps must accomplish. The last one is data governance. Who decides what your firm's data assets must accomplish? So I hope you are clear with the definitions of this jargon, because from now on you will always hear these jargons, and you must make sure that you really understand. Otherwise, you will lose. Okay. Okay. Expecting miracles from IT. Basically, every company has its own business goals and business strategy. Okay. Almost all companies are using IT to support their business. So basically, their expectation on IT is very high. They expect miracles from IT people. So what is this slide trying to tell you is the first one, cheap yet strategically impactful, meaning that they want low cost IT but strategically impactful. They don't want to spend more, but yet they want IT become their business catalyst. Okay. The second one is hopelessly contradictory. Is it really contradict? Okay, basically it's not quite, because some firm do just that, meaning that they perform some miracles with low cost IT. And the secret sauce is they perform effective IT governance for achieving business goals. Okay, and of course, it is the number one determinant of business value. And IT governance also help tailor IT to business, prioritize without forsaking economy. The third one is basically about IT governance provides a mechanism for non-IT managers to influence corporate IT decision. The last one is a key idea that IT and line functions, which is non-IT, okay, are responsible for different types of IT decision. Okay, now trade-offs. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, trade-offs is you give up one thing in order for you to get something else. Okay, this diagram show that the level of IT decision. Okay, both structure, decentralized and centralized, are needed, but how to decide and who will decide? It is basically much depending on size policy of a company. Okay, the company has to optimize both centralized and decentralized in order to achieve the balance between IT frugal and strategic. Okay, frugal here means economical or safe cost. If IT make decision which is the right one, it is called decentralized. Centralization actually will make easy for the company to do coordination and integration of IT assets. Okay, IT assets. Don't forget, IT asset is includes IT infrastructure, IT apps, and IT data. Okay, but there is still weakness of what we call one size fit all. Okay, uh, which is they have to struggle to take into account the differences of IT needs from various line function. Okay, line function here is don't forget, line function is non-IT per. Okay, for non-IT make decision is the left one here, which is called decentralized decision. I mean, it is a piecemeal decision made by different line function, non-IT, which is a non-IT unit that focus on their own IT needs. Okay, this can potentially becomes a nightmare if we do the integration of IT assets. Why? Because every line functions might have a different IT solution, and the integration part will be very difficult. Okay, usually non-IT decision and tailored usually non-IT decision are tailored to business, which means they can quickly adapt to change, and they respond rapidly to demand. Okay, this is what we call business agility. And the user, usually non-IT, they themselves have the right to set IT direction. Okay, that's why non-IT involvement in IT decision is very critical. I think that's all about trade-off in IT governance. Okay, next is about IT decision rights. Uh, this diagram illustrates the choice of IT decision rights for implementing the IT governance. Okay, uh, governance basically provides allocation of IT decision rights. So, in simple terms, it is about who makes what IT decisions. Okay, this is basically refer to a number of people appointed among the staff who have been assigned responsibility and accountability for IT decisions. They will make decision on what IT should accomplish. Okay, it is about not whether your IT assets, okay, are centralized, IT assets centralized or decentralized. That one is IT architecture. This is rather about decision whether centralized or decentralized. Okay, actually, in practice, it is quite rare to get a perfect centralization and decentralization decision. That's why the company locate the IT decision rights between these two decisions. That is between decentralized and centralized. So the direction setting is very important, because direction setting plus oversight will ensure the desirable business outcomes. Uh, and authority plus accountability should go hand in hand. So non-IT and non-IT, they both should work together and be tied to the IT business outcomes. Okay. So basically, the company must purposely make a choice to go for either for centralized or decentralized. Uh, it is when the company do not deliberately choosing. Okay, they still have to make a de facto a choice of utilization rights to IT, meaning that if your company does not make any choice, it will automatically goes to the IT unit, which is become centralization by default. It is unlike IT architecture. Okay, IT governance choices can be changed over time, right? Okay, look at this diagram. Uh, When we say centralized decision, it means that we exclusively assign rights to the IT unit. When we say decentralized decision, it means that we exclusively assign rights to the line function. Okay, line function is the non-IT manager. Okay, federated actually is both IT and non-IT will decide together. That's all for IT decision rights. Okay, focus on what, not how. The code for this video is 2992. Okay, the governance shall focus on the what, okay, and not how. It should focus on what IT should accomplish, okay, not how it should accomplish. This diagram basically shows a company's IT governance structure separately specify decision rights for IT infrastructure, data, and IT apps. So non-IT manager must focus only on the what, which is on top row. Okay. The what decision are the direction setting decisions for the IT activities. This is where the non-IT managers should concentrate their contribution to the IT strategy. And how decision are operational decision. Okay, it is about IT implementation on how the IT unit must accomplish the objectives once the direction is set. Okay, for example, should the company build or buy the system? What programming language should be used? Okay, and should it outsource or in-house, in-source? Okay, so this kind of decision are best left to IT specialists in the IT unit. So, how decisions are best for centralized decision? Okay, input rights take two to tango. Okay, this diagram basically illustrates on how a company can choose the appropriate band to locate an IT decision right, whether it is more toward centralized or decentralized. Actually, IT decision requires a fusion of business and IT expertise, meaning that IT decision always take inputs from both sides, which is IT side and non-IT side. Uh, if we choose a decentralized band, with decentralization band, the input of IT units is lesser than the line function. Okay. In this case, the line function has more authority and accountability for the input in the decision rights. So, input rights takes two to tango means both IT and non-IT have to be responsible for the decision that they made. So, I think we have done on who decides what agenda for IT governance. Okay, now we move on the three classes of IT decisions. Okay, in IT governance, they have to make three IT decisions, which are decision for IT infrastructure, uh, uh, decision for IT apps, and decision for data assets. Okay, the first one is IT infrastructure. Okay, this is where the IT governance will be given decision rights to decide what the IT infrastructure must accomplish for the company. So the second one is IT apps. Uh, this is the IT governance will be given decision rights to decide what business objective that IT apps must accomplish. and the third one is data. The IT governance will be given decision rights to decide what data assets of the company must accomplish. So we will zoom on each class of IT decision, okay, to see how non-IT involves as part of IT governance to make IT decision, right? So the details of classes of IT decision will be covered in the next video. So I think that's all for this video. See you in the next video, inshallah. Assalamualaikum. Thank you.